Hiya, this is Penny from Blush. So I have a hot date tonight with my husband, and we don't get to go out very often, the two of us, probably once every 2 to 3 months. So I'm going to make an effort, and I thought it would be a nice chance to do a date night makeup for women in their 30s. I'm late 30s now, 37, so 30s, 40s. So something quite romantic, but still with a little bit of a smoky eye as well. So let's get started. I'm going to be wearing this top, so it's kind of got a champagne base to it and some silver in it as well, so I want to pick up that kind of champagne-y colour. And I'm going to start off with just applying this YSL Touche Éclat Blur primer, which is, I don't know if you can see, it's got some really pretty gold flecks in there, and it's a silicone based primer, and that is just going to blur my fine lines. I'm going to use it just down my pores. I'm going to use it just down the centre of my face, and then because I want to be quite glowy, I'm going to use this Kevin O'Quan the Celestial Skin Liquid Lighting liquid, and you can use it in a few different ways, but the way I'm going to use it, normally I mix it into my foundation, but for this, I'm sorry you can hear my children in the background, so it's a little bit tan, so it's going to give me that kind of golden sheen. And for this look, I'm just going to buff it in to my cheeks just as a cheek primer. I'm not going to use it on my T-zone because I do not want any more of a glow than I'm going to get naturally. You can see I've got some quite splodgy spots at the moment on my cheeks, so I need to cover those up as well. Okay, I'm just going to buff that into the cheeks. So foundation wise, I have lots of lovely foundations to choose from. I'm very lucky, but today I'm going to use the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. So it's a nice kind of glowy foundation, medium coverage, so it's just going to be really nice for dinner. And I'm going to use this brush just to buff it into the skin, and this is a Real Techniques Expert face brush. This morning I used a glycolic acid cleanser, and then I also used an enzyme exfoliating product, just to really get any of the dead sort of skin off my face, and my foundation would go on super smoothly this evening. And I do that, well, I exfoliate sort of several times a week using different strengths of products. So I have peel products, peel pads, then I use a BHA mask on a Sunday, which is more of an acid peel. So just so I make sure my skin's always really smooth and ready to receive whatever I put on it. Particularly as we get older, our skin sort of starts to show any dryness and flakiness more than in our 20s. Okay, so I'm just going to buff a nice layer of that into my skin. And I'm using the Simple Human 5x magnifying mirror, which is quite frightening, to be perfectly honest, but it does mean that you can really make sure you apply your makeup precisely, and then when you look in a normal mirror it does look much more perfectly applied, which is what we want. Okay, so I'm just going to go over with patting with my fingers a second layer just where I need it, so that's nose and chin and a bit of my forehead, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've finished my foundation, I've done my second layer just where I need it, and now I'm using my MAC Select Moisture Cover concealer to conceal my hair. No, to just cover up the few blemishes that I seem to have developed over the last few days, helpfully. So I'm just going to use a Real Techniques Expert Concealer brush just to blend that. I really like the I really like the Real Techniques brushes. They're relatively inexpensive. They're often on offer online or in Boots or Superdrug, and they really do a good job. I mean, there's certain brushes that I wouldn't be without that are MAC brushes, like the 217 blending brush that I always use, but particularly for or for skin brushes really, that's what I use the Real Techniques brushes for. And then generally MAC or really old Benefit brushes that I literally had when I was 17, 20 years ago. And I got a big box of Benefit goodies from Father Christmas, and it was like a cat carrier box, and it was filled with lovely things. I don't know, I think my mum must have won the lottery that year or something. But anyway, I've still got those brushes in my personal kit, and they're still great, and you know, some of my favourites. So that's concealer done, and this is NW15, and then I'm going to go in with my Hourglass pressed powder, and this one is, I believe, called Diffused Light, yeah, which is this middle one here. And the reason I'm using this rather than my usual powder, which is Chanel Poudre Universelle Libre, mouthful, is just because we're going out for dinner. I just want a really pretty glowy powder. I don't want anything too heavy. I just want to set my makeup, but it to have quite a sort of romantic finish. And this makeup's not going to last, you know, 14 hours. It's, you know, we're parents, we're normally home by 9:30. But it's just got to set it and just give that nice glow. Okay, so eyes, because I've got this kind of champagne-y colour on, I just want to pick up on that. So I'm going to start off with my Chanel, what's this? It's called Émerveillé. It's Illusion d'Ombre Cream Eyeshadow in Émerveillé. It looks like this. It's a really pretty kind of natural shade, but it's got a bit of a shimmer. And I'm just going to use a MAC 217 dipped in this, and I'm just going to take it all over my lid and up to the crease. And this is also great for daytime. You can literally just pop this on, you can use your fingers and you can go, and it's really pretty for daytime as well. Okay, and then I'm just going to do one eye and then go away and do the other one, and hope they match, because I don't like doing it that way in general. Then I'm going to use my Tom Ford, this is Cocoa Mirage, and that's my children. See, this is real life. I don't have all the fancy lights and cameras and captions and things. I have noisy children and my husband trying to keep them away. Okay, so this is Tom Ford Cocoa Mirage, and I'm just going to go in with this to start off with. So this kind of mid-brown shade. I'm going to take another 217 brush and just dip into the powder, and I'm just going to define my socket. And that's really important for me because I have hooded eyes, and I have noticed recently they're getting worse, which is slightly depressing. Oh, got a brush hair on me. I've always had them, but they are getting worse, so it's extra important for me to define that socket, just to give the illusion of more open eyes and more of a socket. Okay, and then I'm going to go into the darker but warmer toned brown, again with my 217, and I'm just going to push that into the outer corner just to give a little bit of depth there. Just pushing that in, and then I'm just going to give the brush a bit of a swirl on the back of my hand just to get rid of any excess eyeshadow, and then I'm going to blend. And I'm going to blend that in. I don't want a big cat eye, I don't want to sweep it out. I will blend those edges shortly. But the actual eyeshadow, I just want to blend into the centre. Then I'm going to take, this is one of my Benefit oldies but goodies. It's just a flat-headed brush, and I'm just going to use that just to blend blend away those edges so it's not too stark. So just a nice diffused shadow. Okay, then I'm going to go in with some eyeliner. I'm just going to use a black pencil liner. So this is MAC Superfly and it's a Kajal liner, and I'm literally just going to push that into my lashes. I just want my lashes to look as full as possible. I don't want a kind of a liner that's going to give me a shape, but I just want thicker lashes and just a bit more definition on along my top lash line, so nothing too obvious. What I am going to do is I'm just going to lift my lid and I'm just going to go in my upper waterline. Just to darken that. So then I've got my thick lash line. Because before I could see my waterline and it looked like there was kind of a gap between my liner and my lashes, which there wasn't, it was just my waterline. So this is just preventing that effect. And then brows, in fact I'm going to go away and do these. So I'm just going to use my MAC in Lingering Pencil, and then I'm just going to set with some clear brow gel. I'm also going to do the other eye and then I'll come back. Okay, so I finished eyes, and for mascara I used my YSL False Lash Effect, Volume Effet False Lash Effect mascara, which is great. I wouldn't wear it on a daytime because it's a bit wet, but it's really good for a night out, very voluminous. And I just put a little bit of the lighter coloured shadow just under my eyes. I don't look very good with a really dark shadow under my eyes, but just a little bit of a lighter one just to kind of soften the whole look and emphasise my eyes. So now I'm going to contour, and because I'm going for a slightly warmer look, I'm going to use my shade and Illuminate. So it's a cream contour, which is Tom Ford. One of my favourite highlighters. It's really beautiful, and I'm just going to use my sculpting brush from Real Techniques. So this is Intensity 1, so this contour product is quite dark. If you're very, very fair, it'll be too dark for you. It's kind of good for me. I've got a little bit of a colour because I've recently come back from Mexico. Not a great deal, I'm still pale because it's gone. But I'm a little bit darker than I would be at this time of year usually. So I'm just stroking from top of ear down to the corner of my mouth, but stopping about level with the outer corner of my eye. And if I want to do anything a bit more sculptural, what I normally do is add a bit of my Kevyn Aucoin sculpting powder over the top, which is more of a grey tone shadow, so better for my skin tone. Particularly at this time of year, more of a kind of a natural shadow colour. Okay, and then blusher. I think I'm going to go for my Luminous Flush from Hourglass, but actually what I'm going to do first is pop a bit of my Incandescent Electra on, which is more of an orangey peachy shade, and then I'm just going to do a pop of pink in the centre, and that's because this makeup is a little bit on the warm side, and the Luminous Flush blush is a very cool toned pink. So if I just give myself a bit of a base of this first, and then I'm going to go in with the pink, the Luminous Flush, just on the apples of my cheek. And this blusher is a really pretty, slightly highlightery blush. So really nice for kind of a dinner, candlelit dinner sort of scenario. And then highlighter, I'm going to go back to my Tom Ford palette. Actually, I'm going to do that in a second. I'm going to start off with my MAC Cream Colour Base in Hush, because this is a champagne-y highlighter. It's a cream, but it's not a particularly glossy cream. So I'm just going to push that in into my cheekbones. Blend that, and then I'm just going to use my little finger a little bit under my brow bone. Be careful of using, if you're going to do this, make sure you're using a highlighter. Don't put a frosted eyeshadow under your eyebrows. It looks really 80s when it catches the light. And then I'm going to go in with my Tom Ford illuminator, because I really like the glossy finish of this, and it just adds another dimension. Okay, just wondering if I need a little bit more of a contour, so I'm going to just use my powder brush. I'm just going to sweep that over the contouring I've already done, so I don't have a kind of a sticky base, and I'm going to get my MAC 138 tapered brush, and I'm just going to very lightly create a slightly deeper shadow into my cheekbone. Okay, and lastly lips. Oh, do you know, I might use my Chantecaille. It's so lovely. Just love using it. Okay, so this is Chantecaille Lip Crystal. It's got a lovely picture of a polo, and it's got this very satisfying magnetic snap, and it's got this gorgeous sparkly bullet, which is amazing. So I'm just gonna pop that straight on to my lips. Don't need a lip liner. And it's a really lovely shimmery finish. Almost frosted, but doesn't feel kind of 80s frosted. And it looks, yeah, that's lovely. It's actually just brightened up the makeup a little bit rather than keeping it sort of very tonal. So that's basically the finished look. I'm going to do something with my hair, and then I'll come back and show you. Okay, so apologies for the fact I brought you into my bathroom, but the light's a lot better in here. So you can see the finished look. I've straightened my hair. I haven't straightened my hair for, God, I reckon probably 3 or 4 years, and it actually does appear to have grown into a bob shape, which is nice. I just popped on these earrings, which by the way are from Catherine de Crèvecoeur, and she does these gorgeous earrings made out of leather, so they're super light. Her website is Catherine with a C, catherinedc.com, and she's super lovely and relatively local, and just I've got about 5 pairs of her earrings and they're gorgeous. So anyway, hope you like the look, hope my husband likes this, and if you've got any questions about products, then please let me know. Happy Saturday evening.